The world stood still for a moment when the headlines broke. Elon Musk partners with African inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso in a $1 billion deal. For many, it was just another tech story, another business move in a world obsessed with innovation. But for those who knew the journey behind this moment, it was far more than that. It was history unfolding. A story of genius, faith, and relentless pursuit that began in the dusty streets of Zimbabwe and reached the shining boardrooms of Silicon Valley. Maxwell Chikumbutso, once a name whispered in local engineering circles, had long been a symbol of unrecognized African brilliance. A mind ahead of its time, often questioned, often doubted, yet never defeated. And now, the world's most influential technologist, Elon Musk, had seen in him what others could not, the potential to reshape the future of sustainable technology. Before the deal, Maxwell's life was a symphony of struggle and vision. Born in Harare, Zimbabwe, he grew up surrounded by challenges that would have broken many. But even as a boy, he was fascinated by machines that moved, lights that glowed, and the mystery of how energy could flow through wires. While others played, he dismantled radios and generators, driven by a curiosity that seemed almost divine. By his teenage years, he had already built rudimentary transmitters and mechanical devices from scrap parts. He didn't have access to world-class laboratories or billion-dollar investors. What he had was a dream, one that whispered that Africa could be more than a consumer of technology, it could be a creator of it. Maxwell's big breakthrough came years later with the invention that many said was impossible, a self-powered generator capable of running indefinitely without traditional fuel. He called it the greener power machine, a system that seemed to defy conventional physics, converting radio frequencies into usable energy. For years, he demonstrated his prototypes, cars that moved without gasoline, homes powered without electricity grids, and drones that flew endlessly without recharging. To some, it was sorcery. To others, it was the future. But for investors bound by corporate logic, it was too good to be true. Many walked away. Governments stayed silent. But Maxwell didn't stop. He believed that truth needed no validation, only time. Half a world away, Elon Musk was dealing with his own revolutions. From SpaceX to Tesla, from Neuralink to the dream of Mars colonization, he was a man obsessed with the future and the energy that would fuel it. Tesla's mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy was bold, but even the world's richest man knew that battery technology had limits. Range anxiety, charging infrastructure, and raw material shortages, these were the hidden cracks in the electric revolution. Somewhere deep in his circle of advisors, someone mentioned a name, Maxwell Chikumbutso. At first, Musk was skeptical. The concept of a self-powered system seemed like a violation of the laws of thermodynamics. But when he saw early data, videos of working prototypes, and testimonies from engineers who had visited Maxwell's lab, he became intrigued. If there was even a 1% chance this technology was real, it could change everything. The meeting between Musk and Maxwell was described by witnesses as electric, not because of the technology, but because of the energy between two men who had both been called dreamers, rebels, even madmen. Musk arrived not as the world's richest man, but as a curious engineer. Maxwell, humble as ever, welcomed him not as a billionaire investor, but as a fellow seeker of truth. They spoke for hours about energy, sustainability, and humanity's future. At one point, Musk reportedly said, "If this works, it won't just power cars, it will power civilizations." Maxwell smiled, replying, "That's the point." What followed was months of private testing, verification, and negotiations. teams from Tesla and SpaceX quietly visited Africa, running independent assessments under strict confidentiality. What they found shocked them. Maxwell's self-powered systems weren't a hoax, they were revolutionary. They didn't violate physics, they expanded our understanding of it. Using electromagnetic resonance and advanced frequency capture systems, Maxwell had managed to convert ambient energy into continuous usable power. It wasn't perpetual motion, it was intelligent energy harnessing. For Musk, this was more than innovation, it was liberation. The $1 billion deal wasn't just a purchase, it was a partnership. Musk wanted Maxwell not as a supplier, but as a visionary co-creator. Together, they planned to integrate his self-powering systems into Tesla's future vehicle lineup, SpaceX ground systems, and even rural energy networks in developing nations. For Maxwell, it was the recognition he had waited for, not in fame, but in faith. The world had finally heard Africa's voice in the language of technology. When news of the deal broke, reactions exploded across social media. Some hailed it as a new era of global collaboration. Others questioned its legitimacy. But to those who saw beyond headlines, it was clear something monumental was shifting. For decades, the narrative had been that innovation flowed from the West to the rest. Now, an African inventor had built something so extraordinary that even the most advanced companies on Earth couldn't ignore it. Maxwell's journey became a symbol, proof that genius knows no borders, that inspiration can rise from the most unexpected places, and that the next industrial revolution might not start in Silicon Valley, but in the heart of Africa. As Musk and Maxwell shook hands for the cameras, the symbolism was impossible to ignore. The fusion of two worlds, two dreams, two destinies. The billionaire and the underdog. The futurist and the inventor. For the first time, it felt like the balance of global innovation had tilted not towards competition, but collaboration. The deal wasn't about who invented more or who owned what. It was about building the impossible, together. And as the cameras flashed, Maxwell Chikumbutso looked up, not at the lights, but beyond them, as if seeing the horizon of a future he had always known would come, a future powered not just by machines, but by belief, a future where Africa wasn't waiting to be rescued, but ready to lead.